Hello, and welcome back to Wonky Cottage. Today we are going to take a quick walk around the garden. We'll see what's grown, look at some of the landscaping projects, and get an idea of future plans. Ready? Me too. Let's go! We've been having a heat wave. Temperatures have been in the high 30s for a week now, but the daylilies seem to be handling it okay. It's put a stall on a lot of transplanting activities, though. I'd hoped to have these split and spread out along this bed by now. Mother Nature reminding me of who's in charge, I guess. The Maltese cross is just winding down from full bloom. Hopefully it starts spreading. It's a very hardy and beautiful flower. The upper bed hasn't seen a lot of changes. Plants have gotten bigger, but some of them are growing weary of excessive heat. I can't blame them, sucking my energy too. The salvia seems to like this weather, though. Just a couple of weeks have gone by, and it's definitely grown and is flowering. Not surprisingly, the prairie sage is handling the temperatures like a boss. Such a great addition to anyone's flower bed. How can you think this is a weed? The dahlias won't bloom this year, but they will be showy when they do. Our cherry plum is doing great too. You might know this as a choke cherry. Not a lot of fruit on it this year, but there's a few berries. The red elderberry is also doing well. I have a group of lilies here I can't identify, so that will be a flower to watch for. The coleus we gave a trim to last month has really bounced back. Another month and it will be lush and full. The tower garden is growing great. It's really good at keeping the moisture where it needs to be, and the clematis beside it is also loving the heat. I think it's doubled in size. The wood bed is looking beautiful. The morning glories had a rough start when they were snowed on, but they are definitely coming back. When the lilies come up next year, it will be gorgeous. The peonies are finished for the year, so now it's just waiting for the seeds to mature so that we can harvest them. This is what they did look like. The bluebird clematis has put a big push on. It's reaching for the top of the gate. On the other side, we moved out a container garden and built another flower bed. In it, we have planted an orphan daylily and added another clematis. This one is called Little Duckling. It's another vining plant, so it should cover this side of the gate. Speaking of vining, one of the morning glories decided the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. It's actually growing better over here, so we might plant more next year. One more clematis to move. This is called Stand By Me, and it's a bush type. It's not the ideal spot for him to be, though he did manage a couple flowers. He's going to move from these rocks over to this bare spot, and hopefully he likes that better. The lilacs we cut back are doing great. In fact, we might have to trim this one back again. Back over to the other side, the lilies in this bed are done. They did have a great showing though. The baby peonies are doing fairly well too. And before we go any farther, I'll give you a glimpse of future plans. Instead of dead grass, we're going to put down a stone path with creeping thyme growing in it. Should look something like this. But that's a year 5 project. My garden shed just needs walls and a roof. The tower bed hasn't done as well as I hoped. Pretty sure it's a water heat issue. I hope they come back. The flowers really are exceptional. The wood pile has gone down, but we've been really careful about burning with the dry conditions. Back over to this side, our transplanted strawberries are doing well. Some are even flowering. And behind we have 30 or so bulbs planted. It won't be much this year, but next year this should be a butterfly garden. Some of them are popping through. Keeners, I guess. We cut down our dead grape and covered it with dirt, and it said nope, and tossed up a new plant. It's a riverbank grape, and in a few years it will vine all over the back wall here. That was a nice surprise. And while we are over here, the cherry tree has fruit. It's hard to see, but I guarantee the birds will spot them. The hollyhocks are just starting to bloom. I'll make sure to snap a photo when they finally come out. And we found out that this is actually a red maple. Going to try and keep him bush size, but if that doesn't work, you might see a video of us making maple syrup. Now, Before we go any further, here is the before picture. And here's after. We've almost finished the reclamation. Starting with the rhino poop bed, we've established 2 different species of hosta. All along here, we dug up what little grass there was, refreshed the soil, and planted hydrangeas, covering them with cedar bark nuggets. We have 2 varieties of hydrangea. The smaller ones are blue Nico, and the taller ones are white Annabelle. Turns out Annabelles need obscene amounts of water until they are established, and we almost lost them, but they seem to be bouncing back. Over on the other side, the lilacs are done blooming, so this week they will get a big trim down to fence level. The Virginia creeper is adapting well to the fence, won't be long before that's covered, and the lilac beside them is doing well too. These spirea refuse to die, so we're just going to keep them trimmed down to a couple inches and let them be ground cover. We have a miner bee. She lives here, and she and I met the other day. She stung me. The hosta have grown their flowers. They will look like this. And growing amongst these hosta are a couple of Asiatic lilies. Last year we had a pink flower, so I'm hoping for the same this year. The japonica is blooming. When it's done, we'll trim it back too. Oh, mock orange, so big, so lovely, so half dead. Once it's done, all the dead branches will be removed and it will get trimmed down. We have a bunch of bulbs to go in here when it's cleaned up, too. And under here we will have hens and chicks. They are growing in the house now. By spring we should have a couple hundred, or at least 15. And in the front, the lilies are just ending their show. Pretty though. There should be more next year. In the discount flower bin, I found a couple oriental poppies. They are struggling in the heat for sure. Everything in here is so colorful. This is maybe my favorite bed. And here's that succulent we were waiting for. Worth the wait. Planter row is still here. Found a couple purple fountain grass in the discount bin too, so we'll take those inside and grow them up big over winter. And we'll end with my two favorite planters. Thanks for coming along, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time at Wonky Cottage.